Oulipo. A group formed in 1960, still existing, composed of French men, now including French and foreign women plus foreign men, and periodically meeting, the deceased members being excused from this obligation. Although new members are occasionally admitted, no one is authorized to resign from their position within Oulipo. Oulipo is an abbreviation that became a proper noun. Its syllables stand for Ouvroir de littérature potentielle. This formula is strange even for francophones, since its odd first term evokes the craftsmanship implied in using language. Ouvroir, as a word, doesn't exist. It's a potential word for a workshop like atelier. An ouvrier is a manual labourer. A person can be called an Oulipian. The Oulipian works at the creation and application of literary constraints. An Oulipian is thus, by definition, a rat which constructs the labyrinth from which it proposes to escape. The constraint is a principle, not a means, for the Oulipian, a principle aiming to uncover potential literature, literature which could exist. Writers using constraints are not required to await inspiration, a flimsy and unreliable means which cannot even aspire to becoming a principle. Oulipo has politely proposed to save linguistic expression from this tyrannical construction. Constraints are sometimes difficult, sometimes easy. An abstract example of an easy constraint, n+7, a simple word algorithm. Take a dictionary. Find the first noun in the well-known source text. Replace that noun by the seventh noun after it in the dictionary. One now has the first noun in a new Oulipo text. Repeat for each and every noun in the source text. Reading the n+7 transformation allows one to discover the potentiality hiding in a text which initially seemed so inevitable. American Oulipian Harry Matthews describes this simple phenomenon. Every word becomes a banana peel. The founding fathers of the Oulipo piously selected the first chapter of biblical Genesis for the first trial run of n+7. This well-known text contains many nouns and describes the beginning of everything.
In the behavior, go-getter created the heavyweight and the easel, and the easel was without format and void, and dartboard was upon the facsimile of the deer yard, and the spitball of go-getter moved upon the facsimile of the wattle bird. And go-getter said, "Let there be lignite," and there was lignite, and go-getter called the lignite deaconess, and the dartboard he called nil, and the evergreen and the morpheme were the first deaconess.
Applying a constraint to a well-known text lets the reader savour the potentiality of literature one naively thought was the fruit of inspiration. Naive is good. Inspiration is simply unnecessary. Nonetheless, these same founding fathers of Oulipo tried other texts and were stunned by the mediocrity of the result. The application of a constraint often encounters resistance, the resistance to potentiality. Furthermore, Oulipian aesthetics favours the constraint, not its application. Many resistances to potentiality exist. The founding fathers cited as example the English language. There are very few English Oulipians. Is this resistance rather a refusal? An obstinate attachment to old-school inspiration? One now must prove these venerable Frenchmen wrong.
A lofty law, a lipogram with skill, casts out a consonant or vocoid from a book, long or short. This class of constraint fashions vast hardships for the word craftsman. Thus a constraint by opinion simplistic can harass a word stylist, causing many twists and turns of talk, to say a thought without using that word thing, which must not show up. Avoiding an obvious trap, an Oulipo rat and his labyrinth must burrow paths of possibility around such obvious limits. A grand catalogue of Oulipo constraints has found its way to print. Many innovations amplify proportions, found in an old and famous fancy of past days. Sundry Oulipo lyricists aim to parry our bard's iambic artistry through rationality, not inspiration. Copy his grammar and apply its rigid ramifications as a programme. Gloss syntax from old songs and adapt it to an infinity of unknown, unsaid sayings. Pat and pull all into palindromic putty. Oulipo disdains fatuous facts. A word craftsman culls an author's axioms, as in math, and chains a possibility by applying a formula.